Dear child, they didn't change their mind because they saw the truth. They changed their mind because someone else spoke lies. And that someone was their brother. The person who should have protected you. The one who should have told them how lucky they were to have you, but instead, he told them a story that wasn't yours, a version of you that doesn't exist, a version shaped by jealousy, by old resentment, by his own broken mirror. And they believed him, because blood has weight, and sometimes love doesn't know how to stand up to blood. So they chose the comfort of family over the risk of truth. They chose history over heart. They chose someone else's voice over yours. I need you to hear this. They didn't walk away because you were wrong. They walked away because they were weak. Because hearing lies is easier than asking questions. Because standing by you meant standing against someone they've always followed. Someone they thought knew them better. Someone they never expected to poison their trust. You didn't deserve this. You didn't ask for this, and yet you've been sitting there trying to find out what you did, what you said, what you didn't do enough of, what you could have changed, as if your worth was something they were qualified to define. But let me tell you something. No human gets to decide your value, especially not one who never truly tried to understand you. You were enough. You were more than enough. You showed up. You gave. You were soft in a world that taught you to be hard. You were honest in a space that punished your truth. You were real when they were pretending. You were light, even when their shadows grew louder. And they didn't want light. Not if it exposed what they weren't ready to face. Not if it made them question someone they've trusted their whole life. So they did the easy thing. They turned around, and they blamed you. Not because it was right, but because it was convenient. Because their brother gave them an excuse. A reason to run. A story they could hold like a shield. So they wouldn't have to look in the mirror and ask, why does someone else's opinion matter more than what I've seen for myself? And if you're still here, listening, then I need you to stop wondering what made you unlovable. Because the truth is, you were never unlovable. They were unready, unwilling, unable. They didn't lose you because you failed. They lost you because they refused to see you. Because they let someone else paint your face in colors you never wore. And they stood there nodding while someone else held the brush. But I see you. I see the ache you tried to swallow. The nights you replayed every moment, trying to spot the mistake. There was no mistake. You were real. You were love. You were the type of person they write songs about. Not always understood, but unforgettable. Once known, you loved them past their confusion. You forgave things they never even acknowledged. You gave them more grace than they knew what to do with. And they mistook your peace for weakness. They mistook your stillness for silence. And when their brother whispered stories behind closed doors, they didn't question the echo. They followed it, even when it led them away from someone who truly cared. Someone who held space for their chaos. Someone who knew their wounds but chose to love them anyway. This wasn't justice. It wasn't clarity. It wasn't fate. It was betrayal dressed as advice. Guidance wrapped in insecurity. It was someone else's hurt speaking lies through a familiar mouth. And you got caught in the crossfire. But listen closely. You are not what he said. You are not the story they believed. You are not a villain just because someone needed you to be one, so they could stay comfortable. So they could keep their version of the world intact. You were the truth they weren't brave enough to hold. You were the mirror they weren't ready to look into. You were a lesson they were too scared to learn. And now they're sitting in a room with his words, still trying to convince themselves that he was right. But deep down, they know something doesn't add up, because their heart felt your love. And no matter what was said, no matter what was twisted, the soul remembers, and in quiet moments, they'll wonder if they made a mistake. They'll scroll through old messages. They'll revisit the last look you gave them. And they'll feel the distance they created. They'll feel it like gravity. And they'll wonder if you still think about them, if you still care, if there's still time. But they'll be too proud to say it, too stubborn to admit it, because admitting it would mean admitting they chose the wrong story. But you're not here to wait. You're not here to chase people who can't see clearly. You are here to rise, to heal, to walk forward, knowing that your worth is not negotiable, that your story is not up for interpretation by those who never asked you for the truth. Let them believe what they need to. Let them stay loyal to confusion. That's not your weight to carry. You were light in human form, a gift, a sanctuary, and they let someone else make them blind to it. But blindness is temporary, and when the fog lifts, and it will, they will see you as you are, not as he told them you were. And maybe they'll come back, or maybe they won't. But either way, you will rise, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in quiet power, in undeniable truth. Because when the divine moves through you, there is no lie strong enough to hold you down.